Hey everybody, Stu Smith here. Hope you're doing well. Let me know if you are, and how you doing. Happy Friday. I am asking you a question today, and then I'll take some questions later. Um, but the big question for me, for you guys, is how creative are you getting with your training these days? Because sometimes you may have lost a gym because gyms are closed. You may not want to go to the gym because COVID's rising, or maybe you can only fit in 10 people in your gym at a time and you just can't make it fit your schedule. So, how are you changing your training to fit your new schedule or your new situation? Um, I'm going to share a couple of ways that we have been doing this since the start of COVID. In fact, we never even missed a workout really. But it just so happened when all this started, we were transitioning out of a gym setting into more calisthenics and cardio setting, which can be done outside very easily and spread out. So it wasn't much of a problem. And that's what we did. We did that a lot, actually. It was a lot of fun. So just waiting for some comments if you have them. Um, but yeah, so we transition into our spring summer training cycle like that, spring summer training cycle, which is a lot of calisthenics cardio with some supplemental weight training that you can easily do with dumbbells or even TRXs outside if you need to. But anyway, it's now fall and winter, and it looks like we are not going inside to be training very often, if ever. We're lucky that our pool's open, so we can go inside and swim, but it's limited to the number of people that we can put in there. So we are just kind of spreading it throughout the day. And I go in there and coach, and you can see some of those videos that I post on Instagram of me critiquing some of the guys. And just started a new podcast with a former Master Chief Navy SEAL, Eric Burks, good friend of mine from way back, great swimmer. And so we're critiquing swim videos as well. We do that on Sunday, post them on Sundays. So you can check that out as well. I'll put a link into the description up on YouTube to what I'm referring to whenever we do. Yeah, some reason I'm not seeing any comments here. Not sure if it's an issue on my side or not, but sometimes that happens. There we go. John, thanks for the comment. I'm just glad you're the first one to comment. So I was wondering what happened with the comment section. So yeah, when COVID hit me, here Joseph said all gyms shut down. Up my running. That's what we did. We built a pull-up bar, added more pull-up bars and dips. You know what? That's exactly what we did. We bought a small portable dip bar that works really well. I think it costs $40, but you haven't been hitting weights. We've just started adding weights. Let me show you some of the things we've been doing. We got pretty creative with our programming. So let me just share my screen with you guys. So you guys can see this, right? If you can't, just make your screen a little bit bigger and you'll see this is my new squat rack that we just set up on the pull-up bars. It's just 8 foot of chain. I think that bar stands about 7 feet off the ground. So when you get up under it, it's what happens is when you get up under it and lift straight up, those chains just naturally unhook. Now, only problem is when you're doing squats, you need somebody to spot you to do squats. and hook you back into the bar. But yeah, this has been one of my proudest inventions of the year. But we also we make homemade sandbags, water jugs, 5-gallon buckets, weight vests, TRXs. They're all great tools to just make calisthenics harder. And I really think that's what our fall and winter lift cycle is going to be, is ways to just decrease the repetitions, decrease the mileage, and add some more resistance. And that resistance will be in the form of like squats and deadlifts with this barbell. And these are just some of the pieces of equipment that I use to make it. Just regular hooks and a carabiner. This is what we call the sand baby. This one here is just a $4 bag of play sand that you get at the hardware store and a couple rolls of duct tape. And the way you do this is you cut a small hole in the corner of this sandbag and let out about 10 pounds and just wrap it into itself and just duct tape the hell out of it with this thing. Probably take about 2 rolls of duct tape to make it look like this. And you can see, you compact it pretty well, and you got yourself a little 45 pound sandbag that you can do push presses with it, chest carry lunges, shoulder carry squats. You can put it in your backpack, and it's a great rucking weight as well. That's not hard like a piece of metal. It works really well. In fact, we use these sandbags to simulate log PT. In fact, you can see this little workout link here in this article. It's called the Sand Baby Murph workout, which is really just push presses, chest carry lunges, chest carry sit-ups, and shoulder carry squats. And you run with it as well. And you never set it down for the whole workout. And you're getting Murph type numbers. You can add pull-ups in there and set it down if you want to. But man, great workout. And it's a good way to simulate log PT if you're by yourself, or you don't have a log. These things are classic. The 5-gallon bucket and water jugs. I think they carry up to, if you put this with a bunch of dirt in it, can carry up to probably 40, 50 pounds of, if you put water in it, it's going to weigh 40 pounds because a gallon of water weighs 8 pounds. So, you put 5-6 gallons of water in a jug, you're going to get yourself a nice little weight that you can do stuff. But yeah, calisthenics, if you can make calisthenics a little harder, you can make this transition into the fall and winter a little smoother and give your joints a break from all the high reps and the high mileage. That's why I kind of cycle through the year changing things up, because if you stay at that high rep, high mileage for a little too long, you'll start feeling the aches and pains in your joints from the high reps and high mileage. So TRX, add weight vests to it. Those are some classics. If you don't have any weight room, the calisthenics cardio workout is great. And then you can play around and supplement some of those calisthenics just with, the weight vest type stuff. So let me see what other kind of questions you got. Let's see. We got some good questions here or comments. I wanted to just kind of share what you guys have been doing as well. This is what we've been doing, and we're still getting after it. So let's see. Okay, good question. Yes, it's going to get wintertime. It's here in Maryland. What temperature is your limit for outside running? I don't mind going below freezing, but if there's water there that is turned to ice, then outdoor running becomes a little more dangerous. What we tend to do is focus on what we're probably going to wind up doing, I should say, is, instead of doing a 6 a.m. workout, we'll kind of bump it to lunch, do like a noon workout with our guys. And that way the temperature around here typically changes at least 15 degrees between, 6 a.m. and noon. Definitely in the fall, maybe not so much in the middle of the winter, but that is a way to, one, have daylight instead of a 6 a.m. workout, be able to see the patches of ice if there are some, but then just have a little warmer temperature. So hopefully there's not ice in that. That's my biggest concern about temperature. Now, if it gets below 20, you're probably not going to see me outside running in it unless I really bundle up, and I probably won't run, but I'll probably just ruck instead. That way I just bundled up, put a little extra weight on, and just go for a really fast power walk. And our outdoor lifting in that kind of temperature is probably going to be challenging as well. Lifting with gloves, it's not the easiest thing to do sometimes, especially when you're doing anything over your head or something like that. So we'll have to get creative with that. But yeah, we've been doing dumbbell work, some barbell work. We even made a bench. You have to have a partner lift the bar up for you, but it's just a regular painter's bench that I bought from, I think it's like Gorilla Ladders or something like that. They also had a bench that's pretty sturdy. You can actually fit about 400 pounds on it, and it folds up and it weighs about 10 pounds. Pretty nice little tool. I've posted it a few times on my Instagram page to show you guys what we're doing. Let's see. Zachary says he bought 5 50-pound sandbags from the local hardware store, around $20. Yep. Threw them into a duffel bag, rucksack, weighted pull-ups. Yep. Good stuff. Love it. Nice work. Let's see. I have my official PST for SOAS application coming up on Monday at 10 a.m. What do you recommend I do before then? Monday, take it easy this week. Hydrate well. Maybe do some cardio, but rest your muscles so your legs are ready. I'd get in the pool and swim. I think you'll be better off with getting some cardio in this week, stretching out, being ready to roll, because you got to crush that thing for SOAS. I mean, they expect really high marks on that one. Nutrition, exercise wise, yeah, just eat normal. Don't try to do anything new. Don't take anything new before you take the PST. The last thing you really want to do is go crazy on caffeine before. That's just going to get your heart rate elevated to high levels that you don't need. You'll be anaerobic before you even start, almost, if you're not used to that kind of caffeine. So goal is, when you're doing that kind of hard cardio, is you want to keep your heart rate down as best you can. Caffeine just jacks it up. So I wouldn't do any pre-workout. I don't do that stuff anyway. Yeah. But I have written some stuff on my page. If you go to StuSmithFitness.com and click the articles section, you will see an article that I wrote maybe 2 weeks ago on what to do the week of the PST, right? And it takes you right up to the game day, right? So check that out. What are your standards for proper sit-up form in the PST? The standards that the Navy tells you what to do, or whatever branch of service you have. Every branch of service has a little bit different. Some branches of service have gotten rid of sit-ups altogether, but most of the Spec Ops units have not. It used to be where you put your hands behind your head, then they put it on your shoulders, and you touch your knees to your elbow, or touch your elbows to your knees. So you just need to read the PST rules, and you can see exactly what you need to do. There's not a big gray area. But yeah, you're going to want to do a full sit up. Okay. What, in your opinion, would be a great core routine using body weight only? Good question. Well, if you really think about it, everything you do is core, roughly. Especially if you're lifting weights and deadlifts and squats and all that, your core is definitely engaged. However, if you're focusing, what I'd like to do is this. I'd like to define what core is. A lot of people think core is just working your abs. I like working abs. It's sit-ups, crunches, flutter kicks, leg levers, all those things work, hip flexors as well. But I will say this, you need to think of the core as a complete system. Everything that touches between the hips and the shoulders is the core, front side and back side and on the sides. So it's not just a few exercises you do to work your abs. It's also your lower back, your upper back, shoulder girdle, connections, hips, hip flexors. All of those need to be engaged in a true core routine. Now, if you just want to work abs, different story. That's only part of your core. I do have some good core routines. I typically like doing kind of warming up with some crunches, doing some flutter kicks, doing leg levers, scissors. I love the TRX for working the core. I do this TRX rollout exercise. TRX atomic push-ups are really good. Plank poses, side plank, regular plank. There's just so many. Hundreds you could think of. My suggestion is Google what you just asked and look for some exercises that you like to do and mix it all in there. And just remember, your core is a system. It's not just your abs. Okay, have until July before leaving 18X pipeline. Shave off 8 minutes of my 40-minute 5-mile run. What would you do since I'm 32 years old right now with no injuries? I'd get on a running plan that puts you at a 7-minute mile pace, because it does you no good to go out there and run 10 miles at a 9-minute mile pace or more. I would focus on quarter miles at a minute 35 or minute 45, half miles at 3:30, mile repeats at 7. Next thing you know, you'll be able to string together, somewhere between 4 or 5 of those at a 7 to 8 minute pace, which should get you somewhere in between that 35 and 45 minute time zone. I would highly recommend not making 40 minutes be your goal. You got plenty of time between now and July to get faster. I have a running program at StuSmithFitness.com in the article section. So that means it's free. And all you do is you run 20 miles a week, but you run 20 miles a week fast. It is focused on a bunch of intervals, some sprints, some fartlek type workouts, and learning your goal pace. You just need to learn that 7.5 minute goal pace that will get you under the 8-minute mile pace of 5 miles in 40 minutes. So that's what I would do. Started building a home gym. All right, let's see what kind of home gym things you got here. Started building a home gym with a rowing machine. Great addition. I like that idea. I don't have a rowing machine yet, but I have access to one. I like using it. TRX, homemade weights, and resistance bands. Genius. Good job, Annie. I like that. Any tips on... oh, by the way, did you guys like my my squat rack? I'm telling you, one of my favorite inventions all year. Any tips or techniques on learning how to breathe during the CSS? Yeah, you breathe with turning your head out of the water. You know, there's a sequence when you swim. In the CSS stroke, you have to pull that top arm, turn to breathe, and inhale with the bottom arm, kick and recover, hold the glide. Pull, breathe, kick, glide. Pull, breathe, kick, glide. I say it over and over again in my swimming video critiques that I do. If you're on YouTube, you can see hundreds of swim videos that I have on my YouTube channel. You can also see just as many on Instagram. Might have to scroll through some of them, but I'm live critiquing somebody swimming right there. In fact, if I can figure it out, I may even try to do a live critique for you guys on the CSS. You guys want me to try that? I'll try it. I'll see if I can pop up a video and show you how I yell at people for screwing up the CSS. 12 rolls for 5 sandbags. That's funny. All right. How many minutes should one train for those carries? I'm not sure what you're talking about. What's your opinion on doing leg tucks immediately after a failure set of pull-ups, or inverted rows still be better? Well, I will tell you this. Doing leg tucks after failing at pull-ups will be really challenging, because a leg tuck, a new Army exercise, by the way, where you're holding the bar like this and you got to bring your knees to your elbows, will require you to do almost half a pull-up, unless you're really flexible and you can get your knees up there with your arms straight, which is pretty tough. Regardless, it's testing your grip. So I personally like to do pull-ups and then go right into knee up, kip ups, or leg tucks, whatever you want to call them, immediately afterwards. Just test the grip a little longer. I wouldn't necessarily go to failure on pull-ups and then try them, as you'll probably lose your grip, or you won't be able to do a half pull-up because you failed previously. You might not be able to complete a set of kip ups as if you were fresh. So consider that as an issue. When does the spring summer cycle start? In the spring. So for us, we started probably mid-March. Great tool, mid-March program. But I guess it depends on what hemisphere on the earth you live in too, because I have guys in Australia that are doing their spring summer program right now, because they are getting into their spring and summer down there. In the Marine, let's see, in the Marine MARSOC old prep program, they recommended that if you can't ruck due to being on a ship, you can squat 3 by 100 or max reps. How healthy or useful is that to do? Well, I wouldn't do it every day. But 300 squats is not a big deal. I mean, that's a Murph, right? And these are body weight squats, I would assume. Probably wouldn't necessarily do it with too much weight. Maybe a weight vest or something's okay. But I wouldn't go much heavier than that. And I wouldn't do it every day. So probably, here's what I would do. If you can't ruck due to your situation, because you're on a ship or something, just make your leg days really tough. That means a lot of lunges, a lot of body weight squats, a lot of farmer walks or weight vest walks up and down stairs of the ship. That'll get your legs rolling. Promise you. So, yeah, I don't think that's a bad deal, but you just can't do it every day, obviously. I wouldn't recommend rucking every day anyway. We typically ruck on leg days, which might be 2 2 times a week. We rarely do a third ruck ever in a week. Um, just over the years, that's the way it's been. Have you ever heard a rumor about people not being accepted into the pipeline even if they hit auto qual numbers? Any thoughts? I have not. However, it is tight right now. So I think they have delayed a few groups till March. I know we had some guys in the December ship date that got bumped to March. Could be a COVID issue with boot camp not wanting people there. I don't know. Could be a pipeline issue with not wanting a lot of people there. But here's the problem. Spec War does not need the numbers it needed in the past. So there is a pipeline of people going to buds, and the standards are really high to get into the pipeline now. So, which is nothing new, should always be high. But if you're hitting the minimum standards of just passing, you're not going to get in the pipeline. And I have not heard about people hitting auto qual numbers and not being able to be in the pipeline. I have heard this because my guys hit auto qual numbers in December or with a December ship date, and they got bumped to March. But that's just how full it is. I know guys that are at prep right now that are, the whole class was told they're not going to buds at this date. They bumped it up a little bit further because, one, they're backlogged. They got a lot of people at buds right now. And it's just the issue of COVID kind of screwing up the process of getting guys screened, getting guys to buds and through buds. So the classes are really big and they can't have them much bigger than they are. So it's just harder to get there right now. So my answer is don't be in a rush. I personally would not want to join the Navy and live on a Navy base and be quarantined to do nothing on a Navy base. That just sucks. So if you're sitting there hemming and hawing about joining the military right now, or you really want to go, wait till this COVID thing's over and then go. Because one, the backlog will be gone. Two, you won't have to quarantine for 2 weeks before you do anything. I think if you travel at all, you have to quarantine for 2 weeks. That sucks. Wait till it's over. Do the Navy a favor and not be standing in line when there's, a bunch of crap going on that's slowing them down. But that's the issue. So don't think too deep into it that it's just a bunch of issues that are occurring right now that are causing the backlog. Thank you. Appreciate that. That's one of my favorite books too. Some classic workouts in there. If you haven't seen that one, it's this one's been out for quite some time. Complete Guide Navy SEAL Fitness. It's calisthenics only too. Now you do need a pool, but it is really focused on grinder PT and PST events. So that's kind of the focus on that one. Okay, let's see. Let's see what we got here. I know my back should be below my elbows in a 45-degree Navy SEAL push-up. Dude, just do push-ups. Don't. Got to go all the way down, all the way up. Arms straight, arms bent 40, arms bent 90 to go down, all the way up. It doesn't really matter where your elbows are. I personally prefer my elbows to be 45 degrees from my torso versus 90 versus 0 with your elbows touching your torso. But you'll get good at push-ups. I promise you. Just keep practicing. Recently graduated Marine Corps boot camp, looking to take my fitness to the next level. Which one of your books would you recommend starting? So if you've already done that, building strength and endurance. Good question. I would probably go with Tactical Fitness right here. This Tactical Fitness book is a great one because, let me tell you why. It works on all the elements of fitness, not just, running and lifting, right? Strength and endurance. I mean, it gets you everything. In fact, I have a test in here called the Dirty Dozen. All right. So the Dirty Dozen test, Dirty Dozen fitness test in here. I've written about it too. You might be able to Google Stu Smith Dirty Dozen fitness test. But here's the test that it has in here. It has for your cardio, 50-pound ruck for 1 hour. How many miles you get? 3-mile timed run right up your Marine Corps alley. You need that. So that's perfect. 25-pound pull-up, body weight bench press, deadlift, fireman carry, 100 yards, pass or fail, body, somebody your equal body weight, plank test. You guys are doing plank now for Marine Corps. 400-meter sprint. Just curious how fast you can run a lap. 300-yard shuttle run. That's 12 25-yard back and forth. Speed and agility test. The Illinois agility test, just another one. Or you can do the pro agility if you want to do that one. And then swim. Can you swim? You get points for just being able to swim. And you got to swim a 500-meter swim. And you got to do a 25-meter buddy toe in the water of somebody. So that is the Tactical Fitness Dirty Dozen fitness test. It's a lot of fun. That test, you can rearrange it however you want to make it strategic for you. There's no rules to say in what order you have to go through. In fact, you can even do it spread throughout the week. You can do the endurance on one day, cardio on another, speed and agility on another. It's a fun workout. I think you would really like that, especially being post boot camp. It's a good way to rebuild post boot camp, put on some muscle mass again, but still stay durable for rucking that you're going to be doing as a Marine. So great question. And congratulations, by the way. Our Marine Corps boot camp is legit. So I'm sure getting those Marine Corps Globe and Anchor was, you should be quite proud. So good job. When you showed us about sandbags, you talked a bit about using water jugs. If one would use them, how many minutes should one walk with water jugs? Until you can't. So what we tend to do with the water jugs is we'll do some shuttle runs. So we'll run like 25 yards, 25 back, 25 yards, 25 back. How many rounds can you do carrying that before your grip gives? That's pretty tough. But you can use them for other things. You can use them for overhead. We'll use them for overhead squats, overhead lunges. We'll do bear hugs with them and do lunges with them, like a bear hug. What other ways were we doing? We were doing, take them from the ground to overhead. So almost like a power clean. So you just, from the ground to over your head, playing around with that. You can do that with anything too. You can do it with sandbags, dumbbells, barbells too. So let's see what this one does. Loved your hard days work article. Do you think 10-year work history and owning a business would help getting an age waiver? It could. You also have to have killer scores too to get an age waiver. That's a tough one. Age waivers are hard. Expect to hear no many, many times. Having a degree to speak Arabic, not bad either. Those little things that help put your foot into the door will help you. Work history, life experiences, foreign languages, cultural awareness of, other worlds. All of those will help you stand apart To get an age waiver, though, when it's really tight and they don't need people, is really tough. So expect to be told no many times, and your persistence will be the difference between you getting an age waiver or not. So that's from my experience with working with people who are working for age waivers. Okay. Are 8 to 9 strokes adequate in a 25-meter pool? Yes, not in a yard pool, though. I would say you need to probably be 6 or 7 strokes in a yard pool or less. I would prefer 5 to 6 strokes in a yard pool, but I would also prefer 7 to 8 strokes in a meter pool. But if you can't do underwater pullouts, then I wouldn't sweat it. So, good question. Here's a good question that I'm not qualified to answer. Before going to see a doctor, is there any telltale signs of a stress fracture versus shin splints? For reference, I've had a sharp pain in my shin that won't go away after rest, no bruising or pain. You know what? I don't know, to be honest with you. I know that if you push on the bone, you will know if you have a stress fracture and it hurts. Now, if you're pushing on the shin splint is actual soft tissue connections to the bone. So you can push on the bone, but you have to be touching soft tissue to have that hurt. So, it's hard to self-diagnose that one. In fact, they can't even diagnose a stress fracture with an x-ray. They need a special x-ray that will help diagnose it. Sometimes MRI will be a test you need to do it. So just to tell the difference yourself is really hard to do. And I personally not really sure how that works. I do know this, that shin splints will heal in a few days or at least they won't hurt as bad. They may not heal. They may not hurt as bad in a few days of not running, but a stress fracture will hurt pretty much immediately if you try to run. Or even I had one once, and if I did any type of leg exercise, I felt it. So that might be another indication. If you put on some weight and you feel it, it's probably a stress fracture than a shin splint. So, let's see. All right, best way to improve my mile run. Get out there and run. I have an article. Depends on how many miles a week you are running. I have a couple articles on Stu Smith Fitness in the article section. They're free running programs. You got to get on a running program if you want to improve your mile run and progress logically. I would try to run faster with your splits. Found Tactical Fitness book on eBay. Bought a TRX also. Nice. Good deal. Which one of the books would you recommend for people wanting to join any armed service? Any. I would say Tactical Fitness. Tactical Fitness is a good all-round workout that will get you ready for any tactical profession. This has got everything in it. It's got running, lifting, calisthenics, swimming, rucking. Like I said, I recommended it to that Marine boot camp graduate. It's ideal for that type of guy who, may want to, if you have a future, maybe want to go recon or something in your Marine. It has enough swimming in it to help you do that. Like I said, it's good. I got SWAT team guys using it, Army SF guys using it, BORTAC guys using it. It's a good all round fitness routine for guys going into any tactical profession. So if you're unsure where you're going, that's one way to do it. Mike Wilson, how you doing, buddy? Hope you're healing well. He says, thanks for all your help and wonderful program. Keep up great work. Thank you. I have a hard time getting past 2 miles running because my lower legs give out. Any tips? I don't know. I would say you're probably just not in running shape yet. So once again, progress logically. Don't start off too much, too fast. Maybe mix in some leg exercises so you can actually build your legs. Because when you are running, there's two things that need to work well for you: your lungs and your legs. So that means you need to have some cardiovascular endurance, and you also need some muscle stamina in your legs. Squats, lunges. I have this one workout called Run and Leg PT where you run a quarter mile at your goal pace and you do squats and lunges. Run a quarter mile at your goal pace, squats and lunges. Just repeat that. It's a great little workout. You do that for 2 miles, I promise you, you'll start getting your legs in shape. Okay, good question. Should I be training in the pool with a mask or goggles or a combination of both? I'm assuming you are wanting to go into Spec Ops, probably diver or Navy SEAL. But if you're just a regular guy going swimming, I would just get a pair of goggles. If you're going into some scuba world where you will be scuba diving, you need to get used to swimming with a mask. At Buds, all your swims are with a mask. You'll never use goggles, but you'll also have to take the test without mask or goggles. So you got to get used to wearing nothing, and you got to get used to wearing a mask if that is your journey. Is a swim tether or belt worth it? Oh, yes. In fact, when our pool closed, that's what I used. I had a small backyard pool that was maybe, I don't know, 25 feet long. It was really small, but I was able to put that little tether, hook it up to the filter system and around itself, just hook my little rubber band through onto the belt through the filter system, and just swim for 30 minutes and felt like I swam a mile. Those things work, and it's just a piece of rubber and a belt, rubber band and a belt. So, and they're not that expensive. You go to Amazon, you get it for $15 maybe. So that's what we use them for when we didn't have a pool or a big pool. If you're thinking about like resistance swimming, I wouldn't necessarily worry about it. Just wear more clothes if you're looking to make swimming harder. Oh, man. So I have a few things for you guys. One, if I missed your question, post the question in the comments section below. In whatever, if you're Facebook or Instagram or or YouTube, just post the question. I'll get to it if I don't answer it on this video. There's a lot more questions that I have to get to. So I will answer a few more while I got some time. And maybe before I close it out, I'll do a quick critique of a guy swimming if I can figure out how to share that video screen with you guys. What are some tips for Naval Academy excelling the CFA? Let's see what I have here. Look at this. Service Academy, Military Officer Fitness, ACE the CFA and PFT. That's a good one. Good place to start. It works. It focuses on all the elements of the CFA, all the way from the basketball throw to the mile run and everything in between. So it's a good one. Stu, do you have a run program for someone who doesn't run at all? Yes, I do. In fact, if you go to StuSmithFitness.com, there's an article in there that takes you from 0 miles per week to, I think my most advanced running program, you have to be at 15 miles per week to be able to start it, and it takes you over the course of 6 months, takes you from 15 miles a week to 35 miles a week. That's a pretty hard one. That's my Spec Ops running program. I also have one that you have to build up to 20 miles a week, and you stay there for 6 weeks, but you don't focus on any more mileage progression. You focus on your speed progression. So it builds you up to 20, and then all those miles are fast. It's a really good one too. So a couple different ways to do it, but yes, I do have something that will start you off walking and crawling before you actually start running. What's a good target heart rate for the 500-yard CSS and the mile and a half when doing them? You know what? I don't really know. I've never really gauged that. I just know that I tend to have a lower heart rate on the swim like you do. And by the time I am doing the mile and a half, I'm giving it all I got. So, but I'm not giving all I got at the start. You got to start off with a nice, smart pace. So try to keep your heart rate down low. And then if you got that last half mile, you got some kick left in you, go all out, build it up to 170, 180, whatever you can maintain, and still have a fast run. That's why I tell people all the time, don't take caffeine before you do these tests, because it does you no good to start off a run and you're already at 130 just from caffeine, right? You want to be down in the 80s before you start running, and maintain a nice low heart rate so you're not burning all your sugar, or glycogen. So good question. Never really thought about it, but I know that you don't want to blow it all out in the swim either, because you still got pull-up, push-up, sit-ups, and a mile and a half run to do. So if you can get your technique really good on the swim, you can save a lot of energy for the rest of the PST and not burn out all your energy. Seen a lot of people blow up, great run PT scores that they normally have because they just screwed up the swim. So let's do that. After this question, I'm going to try to share a video of why swimming technique is so important. Because you will overwork in a pool if you're not paying attention. Have about a 540 mile right now. Do you think aerobic work is most important thing to improve? No, if you're at a 540 mile, that's pretty good. Now, can you string 3 or 4 of those together? Probably not. If you can, that's really legit. Then you probably are really good aerobic base, and you don't need a whole lot of aerobic activity unless you're not very good swimmer. That's going to be a whole different animal. Not being in swimming shape is different than being in running shape. And if you can run that fast for multiple miles, you probably have a strength weakness. We all come into this game with some kind of weakness. I was just the opposite. I could run 1 mile pretty fast, but I couldn't run 2. And I literally thought anything over 100 meters was long distance when I started this whole process when I was in my teens. But evolution changed, and I was able to evolve out of a powerlifting football player into a more capable Spec Ops candidate by basically not lifting and turning myself into a cardio animal. And all I did was triathlon training. So I would do calisthenics and triathlon training, run, swim, and bike. The cool thing about that is my body wasn't really ready to do a lot of running that I probably needed to do, but it enabled me to do 2/3 of my cardio activity were non-impact activity while I lost weight and gotten better conditioning overall. And then I was able to progress logically with running and not do too much too soon and injure myself. So let me see if I can share my screen with you on this. I am going to, look at there. I assume you guys can see this, right? Let me know if you can see. Yeah, there you go. Look at that. So I'm going to go ahead and play this. real quick. All right. So we'll all watch him swim. So, all right. Let me stop that real quick because that was bad. All right. So I'm going to back this up. So you guys see. Let me back it all the way up. So first of all, he kicks off the wall. Pretty streamlined. That's pretty good streamline right there. I'll give that to him. Probably could tuck his head down a little more versus looking too far forward. You definitely want to have your biceps on your ears and your chin tucked when you're gliding. I usually put one hand on top of the other. Just lock it up like that. Now watch this. So watch this recovery. He got his decent double arm pull. I'll give that to him. He glides, his head's facing up. He should be looking down. And now watch his arms. Watch how far they are away from him. You see all that right there? That's like swimming with the brakes on. His hand should be touching his torso right now as he is transitioning from the double arm pull into the stroke. See that right there? Not very streamlined. Once again, it's like swimming with your brakes on. Top arm, bottom arm, kick and glide. See how that head comes up? All right, this is so bad, I don't even know where to start. All right, so you got top arm, bottom arm, kick and glide. Let me see if, can you guys see this decently? Let me see here. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger so you guys can see that a little better. All right, so let me work this. So there's a lot of stuff going on here that we really need to fix. So his timing's off because when he comes up to breathe, his head's out of the water. If one of your ears, or I should say if both of your ears are out of the water, you're swimming wrong. And that needs to be fixed first. That's the number one thing that's screwing up everything. Usually, if I can fix someone's head from coming up out of the water to breathe, you know, like a breaststroke versus turning your head to breathe like that, that's going to fix everybody's positioning in the swim. So top arm, bottom arm. Once again, watch this recovery of his stroke. Look at that. Way out there. His hand should be touching his body on that recovery. So once again, he's just slowing himself down every time he strokes. Head pops up, and notice what happens when his head pops up. His feet drop. So now what he's doing right now, instead of swimming this way, he's actually got a slight cant to him. So he's pushing himself through the water, you know, like this versus being flat and streamlined. So that really screws up his streamline. So that's why we got to fix that first. Top arm, bottom arm. He comes up to breathe too much, and that bottom arm pulls way. Top arm, bottom arm, kick and glide. So yeah, it looks like he's doing like a breaststroke breathing. And what you have to do with this stroke is you have to breathe like you're doing freestyle. Otherwise, it's not going to work for you. So that top arm pull here, right, is just like freestyle. Right? So you should be turning your head right now to turn to breathe. And that bottom air stays in the water while your face is out of the water and you inhale with that bottom arm. Right? So his timing's off with his breathing as well. Plus he pops his head up out of the water, which just throws you up, throws everything off. Decent kick, but you wouldn't know it just because he doesn't glide any after the kick. You should be holding this glide position after the kick for 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, maybe even pull on 3. There you go. Nice. Top arm, bottom arm, kick and glide. All right, not too bad. So let's go back. Whew. Okay. All right. So one last question. Doing the CSS correctly is so comfortable it feels like you're swimming in your bed. Okay, wasn't a question. Good comment, though. Yeah, comfortable, streamlined, and relaxed is so much faster. So someone asks, who am I? My name's Stu Smith. So StuSmithFitness.com. Check it out there. You'll be able to see. Igloo water jugs. Great idea. Are really good for workouts. Hold up to 6 gallons. and have a big grip. Yes, I would agree. Those things are much better than the 5-gallon bucket grips. You almost have to wear pretty thick gloves to make those things not kill your hands. Good one. Yeah, that's a great idea. I have to check that out. Who's it? Wow, from Mongolia. Sweet. What's your advice on increasing carry strength on your shoulders? The other day I tried carrying a 40-pound sack of potatoes on my shoulders, almost died. I would suggest getting in the weight room and lifting. Not just overhead press, but also just everything from the shoulders down. You got to work your legs, work some deadlifts in there, work some kettlebell swings, work some hang clean movements. I like to do a kind of like a combo movement with a heavy bicep curl and an overhead press, right? That's a good little combo there that's going to work other muscles besides just your shoulders. But yeah, sometimes 40-pound sack of potatoes can be uncomfortable. Those potatoes aren't soft, but it's not super heavy either. So I would suggest building a 40-pound bag of sand. Not sure who's trying to call me. That's weird. 40-pound bag of sand and play around with that some. So, all right. I think I'm done. All right. So here's the deal. Thank you guys for sticking around. If you guys do go to Stu Smith Fitness, use the code SAVE2020 and you'll save 20% on anything you buy. So SAVE2020 is the coupon code. Save 20% at StuSmithFitness.com. So once again, thanks for watching. If you were unable to me to answer your question, I apologize. There are just so many coming in at once. But if you would either post it in the video, below the video in the comment section, or DM me, IM me, email me, I will answer your question. So, all right, guys, take care. Enjoy the weekend and keep getting after it. We'll see you later.